Hello and welcome. This is Tiffany Barron, your host for Create Your Own Economy. Back again to lead you into one of the most important lessons you will ever learn. You are going to learn how to control the settings on the inner thermostat that literally controls the temperature of your life. This lesson is titled The Paradigm Phenomena. It is actually your paradigm that controls what you attract into your life. Most people don't get what they want, but you always get what you attract. When you change your paradigm, you change your life. So open your mind as Bob Proctor talks to us about one of his favorite subjects, paradigms.
There is actually two subjects that we're going to talk about here. Paradigms and praxis. What's stopping us from doing the thing we know how to do? You and I do things we don't want to do, gives us results we don't want to get, we know how to do better, and we don't do it. This particular session in Create Your Own Economy on praxis and paradigms is very powerful. It's based on the premise that you have rich resources lying dormant within you, waiting to be developed. The development of these resources will cause the manifestation of prosperity in your material world. I think it's understanding these two concepts, paradigms and praxis, that helps us understand why it is that absolutely brilliant people remain broke. And others who are not very bright become very wealthy. See, material wealth is a normal and a natural state for you to live in. This segment of Create Your Own Economy focuses on paradigms and praxis and is designed to help you make the change that's required to achieve the results that you desire. If we were to stop 100 people walking down any street in any city in the world, yet we were to get them to open up and be honest with us, every one of them has a desire to do better. That's part of our spiritual heritage. That's part of the essence of who we are. Spirit's always for expansion and fuller expression, never for disintegration. Do not permit the apparent simplicity of these various exercises to deceive you. Every exercise is directed at altering the conditioned mind. And make no mistake about it, our minds have become conditioned. And we point out that intellectual comprehension of this program is not difficult. Yet in a relatively short period of time, you would be able to answer a battery of questions on what we've studied. You could go into any part of Create Your Own Economy and you'd be able to answer the questions. You know what the answer is. That doesn't mean that you're going to do it. There's an enormous gap between knowing and doing. We have to learn how to close that gap. John Ruskin put it very well when he pointed out that we're not interested in teaching people to do what they don't know how to do. We want them to behave as they don't behave. We're not interested in teaching them what they don't know. We're talking about creating your own economy. If you go to 6 Minutes to Success, there's a phenomenal program there that you can set yourself up as an affiliate, and it's only $40 a month to belong to it. And every time you suggest to another person that they belong to it, you would get $10 of that $40. Now, you may be saying, well, $10 is not much. Well, if you just recommend it to 4 people, your program is free. If you recommend it to 100 people, that's $1,000 a month that you've got coming in. It's all passive. You don't do anything. And some of it you're earning while you're sleeping. If you recommend it to 1,000 people, that's $10,000 a month you've got coming in. There is a lady that has a website with a membership of 950,000 names that she's mailing to on the 6th of January. She will have tens of thousands of dollars coming to her every month because she hit the most once. This idea that you should go to work to earn money is an old idea. It's a false idea. It isn't a good one. It never was a good one unless you really love working. Personally, I don't like it. Now, I see work as something you do that you don't enjoy. Successful people have a very difficult time differentiating between work and pleasure. 6 minutes to success is a great idea. Every day you get a video. I prepare the video. I explain an idea. It's a good idea. Yet then I say, now do this for the next 4 or 5 minutes. All day long, that exercise is going to keep flipping back onto your mind. And you know when it'll come back to your mind? When you most need it. And what Ruskin said here is right. Education doesn't mean teaching people what they don't know. It means teaching them to behave as they don't behave. The people that originated this idea are going to earn millions of dollars. Literally millions of dollars. This wasn't difficult. And all they were doing was thinking. The compensation you receive for giving the exercises in Create Your Own Economy your full attention and serious consideration will astound you. Most people that are involved in Create Your Own Economy, they've been messing around, they've been playing around with ideas to do with the mind and personal growth, but they've never really tapped in to how create their own economy. I have been in this business a long time. I know people that study this, but they don't do it. These programs are designed to cause you to start to do some of the things you're not doing. Now, paradigm. It's an interesting concept. Praxis is an interesting concept. But to really understand it, you have to understand something about the mind. Paradigm is nothing but a multitude of habits that are fixed in your subconscious mind. And praxis is the integration of belief with behavior. You have ideas that are programmed into your subconscious mind that cause that body that you're sitting in, that you're living in, to move into action. If you think of people that you work with or live with, there's a routine that they go through from the time they wake up until they go to bed, and you should not mess with their routine. It disturbs them. But the real crazy part is, you too have a routine. Yet we follow a certain routine. What we should understand is that routine is producing the results we get. Now, if the results week after week, month after month, year after year are not giving us what we want, what has to change? I'll tell you exactly what has to change. The paradigm. The paradigm is the automatic pilot. The paradigm is the mental thermostat that controls the temperature of your life. Now, praxis is another idea. Praxis is the integration of belief with behavior. What do we mean by that? Well, it seems that we have two belief systems, one on an intellectual level and one on a very deep subconscious level. So a person can say, I believe that, and yet their behavior would indicate they've never heard of it. So to really grasp the idea of paradigms and praxis, it becomes essential that we start to gain some understanding of how the mind functions. Why do we do what we do? Why do we say one thing and then do another thing? Why do we continually do the thing that we really don't want to do? There was a doctor in San Antonio, Texas, back in 1934 that was very involved in holistic healing. And he was very involved in the healing arts, and he was very dissatisfied with the way the people in his industry or in his profession were functioning. And he said, what we're really doing is we're treating symptoms. We're not treating causes of problems at all. Yet as long as you just treat the physical, as long as you just treat the symptoms, you're never going to change them. says you've got to go to the cause of the problem. And to go to the cause of the problem, you have to understand the mind. And the problem with most people is they have no picture of the mind. If I asked you to think of your automobile, a picture of an automobile will come on the screen of your mind. If I asked you to think of your front door, a picture of your front door will come on the screen of the mind. Now, why and how does that happen? When I say the word automobile, I'm activating vocal cords, and I'm setting up a sound. It's actually a vibration. It's a light message. Your hearing sense picks up that light message. It goes flying down a nerve passageway and strikes a group of cells in your brain. Those cells are vibrating, and instantly as that light message strikes them, they increase in amplitude of vibration, and the picture that's in them, like that, flashes on the screen of the mind. Yes, I say front door, I activate a different group of cells, and the picture of your front door flashes on the screen of your mind. Now, if I kept saying things, your refrigerator, your kitchen table, your clothes closet, like that, I'm triggering pictures on the screen of your mind. But if I say your mind, what picture do you get? Most people get a picture of your brain. Your brain is not your mind any more than your heel is, or your elbow. The brain is an electronic instrument. The brain is a switching station, an electronic switching station that you use to alter the vibratory rate of your mind and body. Yet as you activate certain brain cells, your vibration changes just like that. Now, what we want to do is create an image of the mind. Well, I want you to visualize a circle. Yet the circle has a line right through the center, a horizontal line. The top half of the circle is what we're going to call your conscious mind. The bottom half of the circle is what we will call your subconscious mind. If you will, I want you to imagine your head as being that circle. Now let me clearly indicate that I don't believe the mind is in the head. Mind is movement. Body is the manifestation of that movement. Your mind is in your toe. It's in your elbow. It's in your hair. Your body is the manifestation of a movement that's called mind. But we have to have an image to operate with. So this good doctor says, I'm going to create a picture. And what he did is make two circles, a big circle and a little circle. Now the big circle will represent the mind. The little circle below it will represent the body. Now the body is like a dumb terminal. It just does what the mind tells it to do. The body is an instrument of the mind. I know most people look at their body and they say, this is me. It's not me at all. It's the instrument I'm living in. Remember now, the big circle has a horizontal line running right through the center. And we let everything on the top half represent the conscious mind. Everything on the bottom represent the subconscious mind. Now, the conscious mind is the thinking mind. So there's actually a power flowing into our consciousness, and we can think. Yet we can think anything we want to think. The subconscious is the emotional mind. Yet as we think and we impress those thoughts upon the subconscious, we stir up the emotions. We build the picture in the consciousness, and we get emotionally involved in that picture. As we do, we alter the vibratory rate of the body, and when we do that, the body moves into action. So your feelings are expressed in your actions. Your feelings are in your subconscious. That's the emotional mind. And the way you feel is dictated by the images that you are emotionally involved in. Feeling is actually a word that we use to describe vibration our mind and body's in. If you have a negative image that you're emotionally involved in, you're going to feel bad. If you have a positive image, you're going to feel good. But whatever way you feel is going to dictate how you act, and your actions produce your results. So I want you to imagine that the results are outside of yourself. It could be your bank account. It could be the x-rays of your body. It could be relationships. Whatever it is, it's the results that we have been programmed to focus on. And what we should be focused on is the cause of those results, and that's in the mind. But most people don't know much about the mind, so they blow it. The more we understand the mind, the more we move in the right direction. Now, let's go back and just build the big circle again, and we'll say that's the mind. Now, I want you to see your head as your mind, and let's put the body below it. Now, let's take and divide that mind into two parts. Then let's understand that the conscious mind is where our conscious awareness is developed. This is where our choices are made. The subconscious mind is totally subjective. It's totally deductive. It has absolutely no ability to originate. Yet will take whatever you give it and instantly begin to move it into form. So do you see the vibratory rate of the body? Yes, totally subjective to what you impress upon your subconscious mind. You have been raised to go by what you see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. Hooked up to your conscious mind, if you can visualize this now, on top of that little circle that we say is the mind, you have 5 antennae. And they pick up information from the outside world. Yet we have been programmed to live through our senses. As little kids, the parent says, well, you listen to what I'm telling you. Well, you look at this. Yet constantly the idea is embedded in the child's mind, let the outside world control the inside world. Yet every religion, there's no exception to this, every religion, every great philosophical book will tell you that you should be controlled from inside, but we're programmed to live from the outside. It's almost like teaching a baby English when they're small and then criticize them because they don't speak Russian or French or Spanish. It's like I heard a man say one time, they crippled us and then they criticized us for being crippled. You have been programmed to let the outside world control you. The media is controlling your mind. It's the radio, the newspaper, the television. We go by what we see. We look at our bank account, and that dictates our financial state. Why don't we originate pictures in our mind? Let them control our financial state. Well, what we want to realize is that the conscious mind is also the intellectual mind. Now, Napoleon Hill said that an educated person is not necessarily a person with an abundance of general or specialized knowledge. He said an educated person is a person who has so developed the faculties of their mind that they can acquire anything they want or its equivalent without violating the rights of others. Most people don't even know what their intellectual factors are. So let's take a look at them. We have perception. Perception is our point of view. Most people have a perception problem. Two people looking at the same thing, they see something entirely different. What is it? It's perception. Then we have the will. Do you know it's the will that gives you mind power? When you learn to concentrate, you got great power. I have a couple of statues of Napoleon in my home. I have a great library on Napoleon. He was a powerful guy. He had a very highly evolved will. One of his biographers said he had immense capacity for sustained concentration. Have you any idea what that does for you? The other one says, I see only the objective, the obstacle must give way. What does concentration do? I'll tell you what it does. If you can visualize a great funnel of power flowing into your consciousness, it's power that has no direction, yet has no form. Yet you give it form with the thoughts you choose. You can choose negative or you can choose positive. You're a creative being. What we want to do is create our own economy. So we build a picture and we see money coming to us. You'll say, well, this is a fantasy. Of course it is. But that's why you've been given the ability to fantasize. That's where all creation begins, in a fantasy. So we build this picture of great finances coming to us. I am so happy and grateful now that money comes to me in increasing quantities through multiple sources on a continuous basis. It's the will that gives you the ability to hold that picture on the screen of the mind to the exclusion of all outside distractions. So as this power flows in, it flows to and through you. Where are you sending it? You're sending it back out to the universe, but you've given it direction. We go to spirit to create the image. We take the image and give it back to spirit, and through the reciprocal law of spirit gives us back to us in physical form. Concentration is what gives you power. Concentration increases amplitude of vibration. As you concentrate, you put great power to your mind. Everybody should learn how to hold one idea on the screen of the mind to the exclusion of all outside distractions. That's why we don't want to mess around with the little thinkers. Let's get involved in big talk. Let's build big ideas. I just don't want to spend any time with people that don't. You'd say, well, that's not right. For whom? It's right for me. It's how I want to live. I'm given the ability to choose. So I choose the people I want to associate with. I choose the ideas that I want to work with. I choose the goals that I want to manifest in my life. I choose the number of sources of income I want to have. This is how you create your own economy. You not only build the picture, you learn how to hold the picture. Now you build it with your imagination. Napoleon Hill said that is the most marvelous, miraculous, inconceivably powerful force that the world's ever known. These are faculties that are in your conscious mind. Now keep in mind that you also have hooked up to your conscious mind all these sensory factors. See, hear, smell, taste, touch. So your mind is getting inundated from outside with a lot of nebulous junk. It really is. If you could see your sensory factors like 6-lane highways in rush hour of information that you don't want, and it's flooding into your consciousness. Do you know that you have the ability to reject all that? You have the ability to hold just the images on your mind that you want. And you can build those images with your imagination. And through the will, you can hold those images. Through the power of perception, you can just look for the good in something. And then you have memory. Do you know that there's no such thing as a bad memory? Everyone has a perfect memory. I could teach how to memorize this book. Jerry Lucas was in San Francisco at one time running seminars teaching people how to memorize the Bible. Most people couldn't conceive reading it. He was teaching them to memorize it. There is no such thing as a bad memory. There's only weak memories. And then, of course, you have intuition. What a magnificent faculty that is. You can just walk by a person and you can pick up their vibration. You can read them just like a book. See, everything goes on in the inside shows on the outside. How many times have we spent any time together, Gary? None really. So then, I don't really know you. Is that right?
That's right.
The truth is, Gary, I really do know you. If I were going to get you to do something, I'd get you to think it's your idea. You got a very powerful mind. You've also got a quiet, sensitive side to you that you keep well hidden. But when you make up your mind to do something, you go through a wall to make it happen. You don't back off things easy, do you? No, and you don't make up your mind in a hurry about things. You gather a lot of facts before you make a decision. So you see, if I come in to sell you something, I wouldn't try and sell you like that on an emotional level. I would go and do all the shopping for you. Because if I come in to present an idea, and I don't give you comparative prices, you're going to go and look for them yourself, and that may have the other person sell you. So I do all the shopping. And then you know what I'd do, Gary? I'd say, listen, I think it's a good idea that we study this stuff for a little while and we really give it some thought. Why don't I drop back next Thursday or Friday? How about Thursday afternoon? And you'd really like me for doing that because that's what you want to do, but I'm suggesting it. You don't have to tell me, come back next week. I want to think about it. I know that you want to think about it. You say, well, that's the way everybody is. Everybody isn't like that at all. You're not like that. Nicole's going to make up her mind like that. If you don't get her fast, you're not going to get her at all. She makes snappy emotional decisions. She's a lover. You keep all that energy bottled up inside. You're going to explode if you don't express it, you see. Isn't that right? You are so sensitive and so emotional and such a lover and whoa, just like that. Like you live out there in the right hemisphere of your brain all the time. It's a nice place to be, isn't it? Yeah, that's where I live. Well, how would I know that? Well, I know she's a woman and I know you're a man. And somebody will say, Bob, that's absolutely brilliant. How in the hell did you ever figure that out? You see? Everybody knows she's a woman, he's a man. No, they don't. Babies don't know. When a baby grows, they start to develop conscious awareness, and they become aware of the difference between the female personality and female body, male personality and a male body. But unfortunately, at a very early age, too, we stop developing that awareness. And then we go through life, we don't know what they're like. My God, you live with them for years, and you still don't know what they're like. Why? Well, because we don't pay any attention to them. We're thinking about ourselves. The only thing we get upset with is what they do. Why are you doing that? Why don't you change? Why don't you just ignore it? What the hell difference does it make? Well, do you know that you've got a mental faculty that can pick that energy up and read it, and you can read it just like a book? You don't hide anything. We think we hide things. We don't hide anything at all. The only person you're hiding it from is the person that's sleeping. And most people are wandering around in a deep hypnotic trance. they're not aware of what's happening at all. But to a person who's tuned in, and you start to develop your intuitive faculties, and as you get in to create your own economy, it's going to lead you in that direction. Say, how do you do that? Studying this material. I could walk past somebody in the lobby. I'll tell you exactly what they're like. See, if I were selling you, Shelley, I would really be tuned into your energy, because there's part of you that moves very fast like Nicole, but there's another part that moves like Gary. And I've got to know which part's in control, because only one part's going to be in control at one time. Now, you see, if you know that, then you're sensitive and you're just trying to see what vibration are they in, because then you can work with them properly. Does that make sense? It does make sense. Now, if I'm doing it, you can do it. You have an intuitive factor. Your intuitive factor is what picks up vibration and reads it. When you are tuned in, you hide nothing. You pick up the energy. You see, your thoughts will set up a vibration, but your intuition picks up vibration. And you've got to ask yourself, am I thinking and setting up, or am I picking it up? And the trick is to know when it's which. So the more you study, the more you get tuned in. And last but not least, of course, you have a reasoning factor. And that's what gives us the ability to think. That's truly what separates us from all the rest of the animal kingdom. Now, most people don't know much about these intellectual factors, but you've got perception, the will, imagination, memory, intuition, and reason. And you know that that's where your mental power rests? This is what gives you the ability to truly create your own economy. Just see, when I say I am so happy and grateful now that money comes to me in increasing quantities through multiple sources on a continuous basis, that's actually happening. When I was sleeping last night, I was earning very good money. When I woke up this morning, I was still earning very good money. And it'll keep going. And I'm going to tell you, as you start to take control of your economy, you're going to do what we're doing. Because that's what Jerry said. Why don't we teach the people to do what we're doing? And that's what it is. You've got to understand, if Bob can do it, you can do it. If Tiffany can do it, you can do it. If Jerry can do it, you can do it. If Sandy can do it, you can do it. If Ramsey can do it, you can do it. If you see one person doing something, that's positive proof that it can be done and you can do it. Because you see, we're all working with the same mind. There's only one mind. We're all working with the same laws. The laws work exactly the same in Kuching or Kota Kinabalu as they do in Kentucky. Everywhere in the world, I don't care if you're in Tel Aviv or if you're in Toronto, the law works exactly the same. It works for every person every time. And so as we start to understand this and we start to use our intellectual factors, we start to take control over our emotional mind. And as we take control over our emotional mind, we take control over the vibration we're in. And when you take control over the vibration you're in, you take control over what you attract into your life. Now keep in mind, what I just told you is not true of a baby. A baby arrives on the scene, the intellectual factors are in the conscious mind, but the conscious faculties have not been developed. So you know how I said the subconscious mind, the bottom half of that circle, it'll accept anything, it's totally subjective. But a baby's conscious faculties have not developed. And so the baby's subconscious mind is wide open. Yet whatever's going on around that baby goes right into that baby's subconscious mind. A baby doesn't decide they like carrots. A baby's given carrots, and it develops a taste for carrots. Babies don't decide to speak French or English or Russian or Spanish. The baby speaks the language that it's surrounded by. And if the baby's born into a home that's bilingual, the baby will learn 2 languages. And if a baby is born into an area where there's 4 or 5 languages spoken, that baby will learn 4 or 5 languages with ease. They will have no problem at all learning them. See, the baby has no ability to reject. The baby will take whatever you give. And unfortunately, that's the way it is. And that's why most people grow up in poverty, because they're given poverty consciousness. But the subconscious mind is wide open. And through repetition, the ideas go in and in and into the subconscious mind, into the baby's mind, and the mind becomes conditioned. Almost all welfare recipients are 3rd, 4th, 5th generation welfare recipients. Babies don't choose to be programmed with bad information. They're just programmed with bad information. The paradigm is the conditioning. And then the conscious faculties begin to develop. But the damage is done. The subconscious mind is programmed, and the subconscious controls the behavior. Now, here's what you want to really get. Other people may be responsible for making you who you are, but they did the best they could with what they had. You are responsible for changing it. This is very important you understand this. And you know, you will change nothing if you don't have a goal. It's how you realize your vision. You're going to change nothing. All that old programming, it'll control you without a goal. But as you set a goal, everything starts to move in the right direction. You get involved in our 6 minutes or something similar that where you're getting inundated on a daily basis over and over and over again. How do you change the paradigm? The same way it was built. Make sure every day you get a good idea. And as you start doing this, you're going to start sharing it with other people. Now, what's preventing most people from earning the amount of money they want? It's paradigms. That's really what's doing it. See, people aren't choosing their own economy. They're not creating their own economy. Paradigms are creating them. They're being programmed to live the way they're living. They're programmed to believe what they're hearing in the news. They're programmed to believe that things are going to get worse. They're not programmed to believe that we decide exactly what things are going to be like for us. Do you know that in the worst economy there was people earning millions? In the best economy there's people that couldn't come in out of the rain. People are stopped by old paradigms. So you have to ask, what are paradigms? Paradigms are nothing but a multitude of habits. Now this is what we've got to grasp. They're other people's habits. And they're passed along from one generation to the next. Do you know that many of the things and ideas that are controlling your life were originated by someone that's been dead for probably hundreds of years? If you go look up in your family tree, you'll see where Harry and Betty were married and they had Johnny. And those people literally are controlling your life. You'll say, no. Oh, well, is that right? Why do you like the food you like? Do you think you decided it? Mm-mm. Do you think your mama decided it? Mm-mm. Your daddy? You got to go a long way back to figure out who the hell decided we would like this kind of food. Yet you just grow up with it. That's the way it is. Even cooked the way it's cooked. And a person goes to another country and they say, I don't like that. Somebody will say, did you ever try it? Well, no. How do you know you don't like it? I just know. Anything that isn't in harmony with the old paradigm is out. Everything that is in harmony with the paradigm is in. And you know what's in harmony with the paradigm? That economies goes up and goes down. That every month can't be a good month. You can't just keep earning more. It's got to stop somewhere. There's only so many pieces to the pie. Well, how about creating a bigger pie? If we're creative beings, we can do anything we want. But most people don't understand that. I love the way Barker put it. He said, to ignore the power of paradigms to influence your judgment is to put yourself at risk when exploring the future. You see, they put you in a cubicle and tell you to think outside the box. It's a sick way to live. But that's how most people are doing it. The instructions for getting out of the box are on the outside of the box. So if you've got an ego problem, you think you've got all the information, you're dead in the water. You're just not going to make it. You've got to understand that you don't know everything. I study every day. Doesn't matter what time I go to bed. Doesn't matter what time I get up. I will read something every morning. I go in my office and I just pull a book off the shelf. I just reach up and pull a book. Maybe from that side of the room, maybe from this side. Now, I've read all the books in there. I just open it up and start reading because that's where I'm supposed to start reading. I really believe that. I believe you'll always attract what you need. Now, you see, there's some people, they come to a seminar and they think they've got it. They study like hell to get here, and then they stop. When you stop studying, you stop growing. When you stop growing, you start dying. Because the creative law of life says create or disintegrate. If you're not going in one direction, you're going in the other. Earl Nightingale years ago taught me how to study, and then he taught me when to study every day. I may read the same paragraph for 2 years. I want to understand, what was the author thinking when the author wrote that paragraph? I want to take and incorporate that into my life. I want to ask myself, do I really believe this? Then, do I act as if I believe it? See, it's easy to say you believe something, but when push comes to shove, you back off. Why? Well, you don't want to hurt their feelings. If I'm coaching somebody, I'm going to be brutally frank with them. You know why? That's the way I was trained. That's the way my coaches, my mentors were with me. If you're paying me to coach you and you don't do what I tell you, I'll quit talking to you. I will. I'll just be history. I'm not going to be around. Do you know why? That's the way I was trained. What's the point in me wasting time talking to you if you're not paying attention? I'm wasting your time and I'm wasting my time. And you know something? We don't get it back. Once it's gone, it's gone. Now, I don't know about you, but time is very precious to me. I don't want to live in a box, but I know I'm in one. Yet doesn't matter how wise you become, there's still walls. And when you get out, there's more walls. So as we keep studying and keep learning, things change. What do we want to do? You say, well, you keep inundating me with this 6-minute concept. That's right. Why? Because I want you to buy it. Why? Because I want you to do what I'm doing. What did Jerry say? Let's teach them to do what we're doing. Do you know every time you buy that, I earn some money? And every time you tell somebody else to buy it, I earn some more money. But so do you, and so do they. If it's good enough for you, it should be good enough for everybody. Let's spread the word. Let's get the thing going. Let's get everybody with massive passive income. You don't get massive passive income overnight. You may get one source of income. Once you put your name on the line, say, I want a seat in that magazine, that's it. You do nothing, and the money keeps coming in. Because Jerry and I thought of it, we keep getting money. That's fair. But we share. We want to have that in every airline magazine. And you know something? Because we want to, we will. Because we thought of it, we're doing it. And when we do it, the results are there. We don't let paradigms stop us. This is the model. This is the way it works. Your consciousness has power flowing in, and it builds a picture. Yet it takes that picture and it allows you to dream. That's where the picture comes from. Then you take and you let yourself get emotionally involved in the dream. Let yourself get emotionally involved with the idea of massive passive income. This isn't silly. This is wise. Wealthy people have done it since Solomon. As you get emotionally involved, it changes your vibration, that changes your action. Your action changes a reaction. The universe only gives you what you put out. The reaction alters your conditions, your circumstance, and environment. You see, the reaction is actually the attraction. What you send into the universe is going to dictate what the universe sends into you. You don't have to be concerned with what you're going to get. It's what are you going to give? Get it out there. Put the good ideas out. If somebody doesn't want to take it, fine. Go give it to somebody else. We not only have to learn to give, we got to learn to receive. You got to willingly give and graciously receive. Now, if you're having trouble receiving, that is a direct indication you have trouble giving. Because giving and receiving are the flip side of the coin. It's the opposite side of the same thing. You never have to worry about what you're going to get. Now, if I'm giving you something and I'm not getting anything back from you, and I start to think this is a bad deal, I wasn't giving in the first place. I was trading, and I started to think it's a bad trade. If you have an opportunity, you give. This individual is an expression of the universe. You're not giving to the individual. You're using the laws. They're universal laws. Just put it out there. It'll come back. How? Through the most convenient and appropriate form available. See, that is really the fascinating part of this whole deal. Every day you can wake up, wonder where it's coming from today. I used to know that something so big was going to happen to me that I would be dazzled. And one day I got a call on my cell phone. And it was a garbled message. I just set it aside. And my phone kept building up until it was full. And I was sitting in the airport one day, so I started to empty it. And I came to this one message that had been there. It kept coming up, and I'd save it, just save for 9 days, 10 days, 2 weeks, whatever it is. And so I got Gina on the phone, and I had all these lists. And I said, Gina, phone these people. And I said, I think this woman's name is Glenda. I think there's their phone number. It sounds like an Australian phone number. I don't know. She said something about a film. It's probably nothing. Give her a call anyway. She phoned me back, and she said, no, her name was Glenda, and you had the right phone number. And there's an Australian crew in shooting a film. They've been trying to find you for a month, and are going back next week. But they're shooting in Aspen all weekend. And she said, isn't that strange? Bob's doing a seminar in Aspen this weekend. I hadn't been in Aspen for 12 years. Here I am in the hotel right next door to where they're shooting. I just walked in and sat down, walked out. And I'm exposed in a key position to a film that's a phenomenon. No one has ever seen anything like it, that's influencing hundreds of millions of people. Do you suppose if you expect something big to happen to you, it might happen? I think so. Do you know what expectation does? Expectation invokes the law of attraction. You attract what you expect. We need reminding as much as we need educating, said Carlyle. Carlyle said something else that's rather important, that I think we should make a part of this. Let's not just sit down with anyone to brainstorm how we can create our own economy. Let's understand that most people aren't into creating their own economy. Most people don't even believe they can create their own economy. And he said he did not believe in the collective wisdom of individual ignorance. If you're going to sit down and brainstorm with people who are awake. Like the guy asked Buddha one time if he was a god, and he said, no, he wasn't a god. They said, are you a saint? He said, no, I'm not a saint. They said, what are you? He said, I'm awake. That's what we've got to be. We've got to be awake. Solomon said, in all you're getting, get understanding. This is so big and it's so powerful. Now let's take and think of what praxis is. You've got a belief system. It's programmed into our mind in infancy. It's also programmed into us genetically. That goes back to our generations. Why do you think you look so much like your relatives? You look like your relatives because of the DNA, because of the genetic programming that goes back for generations. Well, do you know that you've got all kinds of absolutely ridiculous beliefs programmed into your subconscious mind? Some of you say, well, this is just the way it is. Not everybody can become wealthy, and they believe it. I believed if you didn't go to school, you can't win. I believed that. That was part of my paradigm. I believed if you don't have business experience, you can never get a good job. Do you know where I used to look for a job? In the newspaper. And even some of the ones I saw in the newspaper, I would never apply for because I knew they weren't going to hire me. I would only apply for dumb jobs and then hope I could get it. Do you know why? I didn't believe I could get a good job. I used to just take whatever they offered me. The idea of thinking that I could dictate what I'm going to get was lunacy. I believed I was limited in what I could do. I believed my income was limited. I believed my business career was limited. So I never even tried to do anything of any consequence. And then I picked up Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich. And he said there's a secret in this book. Yet he said if you can find the secret in the book, you can have anything you seriously want. I thought I have a difficult time believing that. And the man that gave it to me, he said, did you do what he said? And I said, no. He said, why don't you just do exactly what he says? Your way's not working. Why don't you try his? So I built a new belief in my consciousness, but that didn't mean that it was going to happen. I believed what Hill said. I believed you could have what you want. But that was on a conscious level. That was my intellect. I read this. I believed what he said. But my behavior would indicate that I didn't. Yet you can have a belief on your conscious mind and a totally different belief in your subconscious mind. But understand this. It's the ideas in the subconscious mind that cause you to do what you do. You can override those subconscious beliefs if you work at it diligently. You put these ideas in and you let yourself get emotionally involved. And when the old belief comes up, kick it out of your mind. Some of you are still letting people that are close to you control you. You're even afraid to suggest that you're going to do something that you know they won't agree with. They're living through you. But you're letting them because you believe on a subconscious level that that's what you've got to do. That is not what you've got to do. Now, I'm not telling you to go out and start a world war. But I'm telling you, as long as you live that way, they are controlling your life. I want to control my life. I don't know about you, but I want to control me. It's like Bill Gove said one time, if I want to be free, I've got to be me. Not the me I think you think I should be. Not the me I think my wife thinks I should be. Not the me I think my kids think I should be. If I want to be free, I've got to be me. I've got to like me. And as long as I do what me wants to do, and as long as I'm willing to pay the price, I'm going to be free. Most people aren't free. They're living in a tiny little mental cell. And what they don't understand is that the door is not even locked. They can walk out of it. And if you will say, every time this goes to raise its head, get out of here. I am not going to let you control me anymore. I am going to stay involved in this idea right here. It's not going to be easy, but by golly, I'm going to do it. And if you keep impressing that, you're going to find that you control the vibration you're in. You control the results. That takes wisdom. It takes understanding. And it takes a very powerful mind. And you have a very powerful mind. The mind is the greatest power in all of creation. Most people are not using it. And you got to remember, it's only 6 minutes a day. Just 6 minutes. Now, I want to lead you through what's going to happen to you. I want you to visualize this stick person that I call it, the big circle and the little circle. The big circle is your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. Remember how we explained how the subconscious was programmed? We're going to call that X energy. X, the unknown factor. X energy in the subconscious mind expresses itself through the body, so the body will be in an X-type vibration. Therefore, will produce X-type results. Let's suppose this is controlling your income. Let's suppose your income is $45,000 a year. That's represented by X. What kind of thoughts are the person going to think? There's a power flowing in. You can think anything you want, but they're in bondage. They don't understand this is controlling them. So they think X-type thoughts. People that are earning $45,000 a year, they're not going to consciously entertain the idea of earning $45,000 a month. They would say that's absurd. They could earn it in a day if they want. You want to hire me to speak at a conference? That's what it's going to cost you. $45,000 for an hour, plus expenses. And you want to know the crazy part? They give it to me. Then they thank me and they give me a present. Do you know I put out fires all year for $4,000? So I'm earning over 10 times in 1 hour that I used to earn all year. How does that happen? I chose it to happen. I created my economy. This is not nonsense. This is the real deal. You do and you can create your own economy. You're doing it anyway. If you're letting the conditioning do it and you're going to live in bondage, go ahead. Now, let's move ahead. I call this reason. This is the same person. They're conditioned with X energy and they're subconscious. Therefore, they're physically in an X vibration and they're setting up X-type results. But an idea comes along and it's a Y-type idea. That's what I'm giving you right now. You can create your own economy. That's a Y-type idea. You can turn your annual income into a monthly income. That's a Y-type idea. And if you listen to me, if you really pay attention, if you follow the exercises on an intellectual level, you've got to agree with me. Because your intellect cannot reject what it sees. But remember the old idea of praxis? That's the idea in your conscious mind. And it's not your conscious mind that's controlling your behavior. And it's your behavior that's controlling your results. So if you want to change your results, baby, you got to change your behavior. You got to act different. Is it scary? Yep. Can you do it? Yep. Do you want to know something? If it's not real scary, I don't even want to do it. I've got to a point where if it doesn't scare the living daylights out of me, I think, well, that's probably not much good. I've got to a point if there's not all kinds of resistance, I don't really want to do it. Some of the people that I'm closest to really don't understand me. They think I'm a little nuts. I don't operate by the same rules they operate by. And if they don't like it, that's their problem. It's not mine. I'm not here to please the rest of the world. I'm here to grow. I don't want to get it and hoard it. I want to circulate it. I want to make it bigger. I want to make it better. It's just a game we're involved in. Everything you own at the time of your death is going to belong to somebody else. But what you are is yours forever. The soul unfolds like a flower. And it's forever seeking its awareness of its oneness with that which is. No one can even guess at what you're capable of doing. We thought man couldn't stand on top of the world until a beekeeper from Auckland, New Zealand said, I think we can. And therefore he did. He was the first person to climb Mount Everest. It took him 3 times, but he got there. We knew that anything heavier than air is attracted towards the center of the world. Men can never fly. But the Wright brothers thought, I think maybe we can. Their dad was a bishop in an Orthodox church. He told them that they were going to burn in hell for suggesting we could fly. Fortunately, he didn't have control over them. Just a couple of bicycle mechanics, but they did it. How did they do it? They believed they could. You get the why idea, and you understand what the rules are. You understand that if you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. It doesn't matter what the paradigm says. Now, if you try and overrule this, it's going to cause trouble. All hell's going to break loose in that instrument that you're sitting with. It's called your body. See, your body is vibrating according to the paradigm, according to the conditioned mind, according to the beliefs that are programmed into it. You may not like the results it gives you, but you're comfortable with those results. Your results may cause you to miss out on a lot of good, but they're your results. We seem to do the thing we fear the least. Is it nuts? Absolutely. Is it crazy to let the paradigm control us? You bet. But do we do it? Uh-huh. Why do we do it? Because we're stupid. We're ignorant. One or the other. That's what Stanford taught me. He said, Bob, you've only got 1 of 2 problems. You're either ignorant or you're stupid. Now he said, when I met you, you were ignorant. But he said, you're not ignorant anymore. So I had to assume he thought I was stupid. And you want to know something? I was. He one time told me there was puddles of dung all around me. And he said, when you're sick of living the way you're living, then you'll change it. I've got to a point where when I'm sick of living a certain way, I change it. And if you don't like it, that's really too bad. That's your problem. It's not mine. Now, you may think that's a selfish, crass attitude. But I like the way Wilde put it. Selfishness is not living as one wishes to live. Selfishness is asking others to live as one wishes to live. If you're not free, what are you? So here we are here now. We take the idea and we impress it upon our subconscious mind. This new idea, we're starting to get emotionally involved in the idea, and all hell breaks loose. On a conscious level, on every level, we hit what's called a terror barrier. And right away, worry, fear, and anxiety, it strikes at such a rapid clip, we can hardly understand what's happening. You're dealing with the central nervous system. It is the most complex electrical system known to man, and it's in you. In every cell of your being. And when you go against that paradigm, look out. Everything goes nuts inside. You'll start lying, you'll cheat, you do everything to try and maintain the old status quo. But you know what the problem is? You know the difference. Now you talk about hell. You talk about the Battle of Armageddon, the war between the two in your consciousness. You're going to experience it. And if you let the worry, fear, and anxiety control you, you're letting the old paradigm control you. You're going to bounce off that like a ball off a wall, and you're going to go right back into bondage. And then you start conning yourself, well, it's not that bad there. I may not turn my annual income to a monthly income, but at least I know what I'm going to earn. And I don't really live the way they want me to live all the time. Can you see what we're doing? We're screwing around with our mind. We're letting some entity inside of us control us. And we don't have to do that. We were created with higher faculties. Yet, and if we use these higher faculties, we can start living the way we really want to live. I think what we should do is ask ourselves, when we go to make these big moves, what's the worst that could happen? Let's suppose you lost everything. You can get it all back again. And would it really be that bad? What's the best that could happen? It can be absolutely phenomenal. You can have anything you want. Thoreau said, if a person will advance confidently. How do you advance confidently? You go by what you know. You go by knowing that if you take and impress the new idea, you will ultimately overrule that negative concept that's controlling you. Confidence comes from knowledge. You know that if you go, that you'll beat it. You've got to override that old conditioning. If you'll advance confidently in the direction of your dream and just endeavor. See, you don't have to do it perfect all the time. You just got to give it your best shot. Endeavor. Give it everything you've got to live the life that you've imagined. You're going to meet with success unexpected in common hours. Just as you're going about your day. I remember sitting in a den in a home on Maplewood Lane in Glenview, Illinois. And I built a picture of having a company that taught this information all over the world. There's now a company that we have that teaches this information all over the world. Why? Because I stayed with the dream. I didn't let the fear stop me. I didn't let what she thinks or what he thinks or what they said stop me. I didn't let the fact that I lost everything stop me. I mean everything. I not only lost everything, I was told if I didn't continue to do what they thought, they were going to kill me. And I said, go ahead. I would rather be dead than be controlled by other people. Because if you're being controlled by other people, you are dead. You're just putting in time. You've got to really want something. And you've got to know that you can have what you want. You've got to understand what praxis is. Praxis is the integration of belief with behavior. You know the idea that's controlling you. Absolutely refuse to let it control you anymore. Say, this is it. I am not going to let this control me anymore. From now on, I'm going to live the way I want to live. Now, you may be the only one that's going in that direction amongst all your friends and family and everything. But ask yourself, do you really want to go where they're going? In a conscious, wide awake moment, you don't. So what the hell are you following them for? If you have to go the other way all alone, go. It won't be long until somebody will be walking with you. And then somebody else. You will attract what you need when you need it. You've got to overcome the old beliefs. You've got to understand that you've got a dual belief system. You've got one in your conscious mind, and you've got one in your subconscious. You've got to understand that you've got a paradigm, and you've got to continually change it. And when you do, you'll go crashing right through that paradigm, and bingo. There you are in freedom. Now, does that get rid of the fear, doubt, and anxiety? That's still there. It's just that you're over here. And through repetition, if you keep impressing this, and you keep impressing it, pretty soon, the old conditioning is gone. Now you know what the deal is? The Y becomes the new X. And you got to start all over again. Oh, I'm not going to do that. Okay, stay where you are. That's the deal. I've got to the point where I really like that. If it doesn't scare me, I don't want to do it. I love taking risks. I love it. If you're not on the edge, you're taking up way too much room. I think that's the way you're meant to live. Now I'm going to ask our Chief Executive Officer of our corporate division. And like Tiffany Barron, she said, I want to run it. We got some strong women. They want to run everything. And so we said, go ahead. So now I'll introduce you to Miss Sandra Gallagher-Alford.
Thank you. Wow. Was that a lesson or what? That was packed with jewels of wisdom. And when you fully understand this lesson and intelligently apply it in your life, you will be shocked with the results that you get. There are really 4 key points that we just talked about. The first one is paradigms. Your paradigms explain the gap between what you know and what you do. They explain why so many people are frustrated with their lives and not doing what they really want to do. But the good news is that you can change them. And in fact, it's your responsibility to change your paradigms. And when you change your paradigms, then you change your results. Second key point is praxis. You have to get to the point where you're integrating your beliefs with your behavior. And the trick is to pick the right beliefs that are going to lead you to the results that you want. Third key point is understand your mind. Understand the power of your mind and the fact that we have a toolbox in our mind. The intellectual faculties that Bob talked about. Your perception, your will, your imagination, your memory, your intuition, and your reason. Perfect these tools, and you'll realize how powerful your mind is, and you'll start seeing more and more of the results that you want. And then the fourth key point, and I really love this one, it's the terror barrier and how to break through it, and the fact that you just have to let go and move towards growth and just get the heck away from the safety zone. Think about the kids when they're up on the rope swings. They go back on the rope swing and they just go way, way up the hill. And then, and they're just scared to death, but they're so excited. And they just let go and embrace the unknown. That's what we all have to do. So to do this, let's go through some exercises here and get emotionally involved with them. So the first thing is, what are your thought patterns about money? What are your thought patterns about multiple sources of income?
What are your thought patterns about doing what you love with your life? Ask yourself, what are your thought patterns of all the key things in your life? I remember thinking, okay, I'm going to do just what I love. I'm going to live a life doing what I love. Isn't that selfish? Well, Bob explained that no, that's not selfish. It's when we're trying to get someone else to do what we want them to do. That's what selfish is. So really examine your thoughts. Now, secondly, take time to objectively look at your results in all key areas of your life. Realize that it's been the thoughts that you've been emotionally involved in that have caused those results. So first, describe your present situation, and then describe your desired results. Then third, as you realize that your results are caused by your belief, courageously look at your beliefs. And this takes some vulnerability. Really open yourself up to look at your beliefs and understand that your beliefs are in every cell of your body. I mean, this is deep, deep conditioning that we're talking about. And so continually sort of do an inventory of your beliefs and clean house. It's a mental cleaning house that you do. Now I want to do an exercise where I'm going to give you some key words, and I want you to just imagine the most positive situation you can surrounding these key words. First one is unlimited wealth. What's the most positive picture you can get in your mind of unlimited wealth? Now, what about super successful business? What's the most positive image you can get about that? How about creating your own economy? How about first-class vacations? Now, really get into this. Yeah, it's fun. Okay, first-class vacations. Now, how about your dream home? Just see yourself in your dream home and feel what it feels like. How about solid relationships? Just picture yourself with all these relationships. They're so solid and they're so wonderful. I see a lot of smiles in the room. This is great. Okay, so you guys really get emotionally involved in creating a positive situation around these topics. Last exercise. Ask yourself the question, do you believe you can create this in your life? Do you believe it? And focus on this until you get to the point where you do believe it, because we know that by law, you can have anything that you want. So really take the time to go through these exercises. They're very, very powerful. And I hope you've enjoyed this session of Create Your Own Economy. Now, the next session, we'll be talking about a sense of urgency and the secret of super achievers. Thank you.